All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Clear Vision Hockey Podcast. Very special episode today. We got one of my good buddies, Hunter Friesen, join the show. Talk a little bit about his career in YouTube and filming and kind of the options he's taken, hopefully to help maybe some players or people going through similar things, and then maybe for a goal for after hockey. Hunter, how's it going, bro?
Good, brother. Thanks for having me. I know we've been talking about a podcast for a long time, and glad you're finally doing it. So excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. So kind of the main reason I wanted to get you on is with Clear Vision, we're doing another kind of piece with helping kids after hockey kind of know what they want to do with their life and just kind of getting things in order for when they're done playing. So kind of when did your filming start and what kind of made you want to do it?
Social media this form of social media has only been around for like maybe 6 years now. With 2019 is when I'd say this era of social media really began with TikTok and podcasting. It's pretty new. So I got thrown into this whole mix late 2019. One of my teammates, when I was playing U18 AAA in Des Moines, Iowa, he ended up just like filming me and a couple teammates in our suits before a game. I remember we were in St. Louis for a little showcase, and I didn't even really know what he was doing. He just filmed me in our hotel before a game in a suit, and he matched that to a trending audio. I think it was a Blueface audio, and he got a couple of other teammates, and next thing you know, after the game, we check our phones, and the video had like 36,000 views at the time in like 2 hours. And at the time for us, that was crazy. Like, we've never got attention like that in our lives. And I just remember that feeling was just like, I found it so cool to just have that attention. And I was reading the comments. They're all just like girls, puck bunnies, I guess you can say, just like loving the hockey guys in the suits. And we ended up just like sticking with that for a long time, and lots of our videos would get like 5 million views. I remember Blueface posted one of Luke's TikToks on his story, which is really cool. I just overall just stuck with that and started my own TikTok page. Within like a couple months, I was already at 10,000 followers. At the time, it's really easy to grow back then, just with like the whole new era of social media. It was pretty easy to grow compared to right now. It slowed down a lot, but just 2019 is when I started my journey, and I just kept going with it.
Yeah. And kind of seeing, like, from my perspective, obviously we've had a few videos together. We've done a lot. I think it's awesome. But going to teams, is it always initially accepted? Kind of how has that been? What's the kind of the process for telling teammates you're going to be filming? Like, how do they take it at first?
I'd say every team I've been on is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Just like with Des Moines, that's like when the whole thing started. So obviously our teammates, like, they loved it. They found it funny just because it's a whole new era, and we're getting a lot of success. And then my following year was the hardest year, I'd say. That's my first year of junior hockey. So I was 17 at the time. 17, 18. And that was like my first year of junior hockey. So I'm playing with guys who are 20 years old, much older than me at the time. And it wasn't like necessarily a negative, but I can tell like they weren't really into it. No one wanted to be on camera. I was just alone. I was getting fined for it a lot in court. So I was young. I didn't have any confidence at the time. So I just like that whole season was kind of like a write-off for me. I barely filmed. If I did film, it'd be in like my bedroom or like an outdoor rink, just away from the arena. And but other teams from there, I was traded to the NOJHL after that, and that was a very good season in terms of social media, just because like the guys loved it. They loved what I was doing. They found it fun to be on camera. they thought it was very cool to just like have that experience. And we were getting pretty good YouTube views at the time. Like I was filming all day in the lives of a junior hockey player, and my videos would get like a couple of them have like 100,000. So like on YouTube, that's very good. So
Yeah.
Then I think one of my TikToks got like over 1 million, and that was my first million viewed video. So yeah, I still talk to those kids to this day. And then after that was when I came here. And then it was coming here was a little bit of a mix between whether it was acceptable or not.
Yeah.
To film. Like I have kids like Anthony and who loves it, and then other kids not so much.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I do have a coach who accepted it, because I know a lot of coaches wouldn't really accept filming during game or at a game. So luckily, I do have a coach who lets me film, because that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
But overall, I'd just say, like, to younger kids who are trying to do this, you kind of just have to not care, because no matter what you do in life, you are going to be judged for it, and it's just a matter if you want it or not. If you want it, you got to just go through it and not care about what other people think.
Yeah.
So that's just my biggest advice: is if you believe in yourself, just keep going with it, and don't let others stop you.
Yeah. And I think even kind of my perspective of it, when we first started, it was like, all right, we got some chirps, whatever. But the more we did it, the more guys like saw it was going good, like the views were going up, the more they're like, all right, this is just cool for them. Like the initial part is probably hard, I'm sure, like the first maybe week when you go to a new team or whatever, but after that it gets pretty easy. And have you thought about this beyond your playing days? I know you're obviously playing now and trying to play, and we've talked about playing pro after school. Is this something you want to bring into that, something you want to do beyond school? Have you kind of thought about that transition from playing into maybe life after, and this is something that could help that? Like, was that on your mind before? Or is that kind of maybe been a second
for
thought?
sure. Like, obviously, I have two more years of hockey in terms of college hockey, and then depending on where I'm at in life, there I may or may not like want to go play overseas, go play pro in Europe or something for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think no matter what I do in life, social media will always be a part of that, just because we're in the modern day where no matter what you do, you should be documenting it just for publicity. If you're like wanting to go into business or whatever, social media is just another way of marketing at the end of the day,
right?
Whether it's for a brand or just for yourself. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to stick in the hockey world. If after I'm done playing. I don't know what that's going to look like yet.
Yeah.
Whether it's a brand or an agency or whatever it is. If I'm not playing, maybe coaching. Who knows? It's quite some time away, but I think no matter what I do, social media will be there for me.
Right.
And just keep documenting my life and, trying to make a living off of it.
Oh, yeah. And that's kind of what, obviously, Clear Vision, we're here to help kids like with their hockey career so they can focus on just that, and we can take care of kind of the jobs and things afterwards. But if they have a goal, like an interest, like for you, you came to us and we're like, hey, I'm interested in social media after hockey or whatever it is, maybe we start that process, maybe get that kind of going, and then we can take care of that after you're done playing, whatever that is, whether even if it's the NHL, like God-given, but you can have something that like you're building, and when you're done playing, it's there. You can go right into it, and that transition, which is hard for everybody, whether they're done after 18s, done after juniors, college, even pro. Like when you're done playing, it's hard. And if you have something you love and you can stay in hockey, I know that's my biggest thing. That's why I kind of even wanted to start Clear Vision, right? Like hockey, goaltending is my whole life, and this is some way I can stay in the game and give back to the game for as long as possible, right? And kind of with us and our videos, a big thing that I've loved, even looking back in last year, like the amount of stuff you filmed that I might have forgot about, or even like, oh man, that was so cool, or like this trip, that hotel, like looking back on it's going to be so good to see, like when we're older, like the friends, the stories, like you have so much cool stuff that like maybe it didn't necessarily get uploaded, but just all this like content that you can look back and be like, man, that was awesome, and show your kids even. Like it's a really good thing you've been doing.
My first YouTube video was actually in Costa Rica. that's kind of how I got into YouTube. Was I bought a camera for a Costa Rica trip I did with my brother and our two best friends, and I just wanted to like film that whole trip because we're just young once with your three best friends traveling to Costa Rica. I just want to document it, and so I still watch like from 3 years ago to today. I always watch back on my old videos, and it's just such a cool thing to look back at your own videos and the memories you made with your friends.
Yeah.
And yeah, just from like last year, it wasn't that long ago, but you do forget a lot of like your trips and hockey games and whatever, seeing the highlights. And I just think it's pretty cool to look back at that.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously we're good buddies. But we don't really get the chance to talk about certain things. Like, I've never asked you, what's maybe your ultimate goal for your social media? Do you have maybe a goal you're trying to reach? Is there a number? Is there something you want beyond this? Like, what's the goal you have for this kind of social media thing?
Like, long-term goal, I don't really have one, but I just kind of focus on the short steps.
Yeah.
Just keep growing every day. I recently started I have a whiteboard and I try and write down my goals. I write down all my video ideas. So right now my goal is to post 3 days a week on my short form apps like TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
And then YouTube is pretty hard when you're in school.
Yeah.
And it got even harder now that our friends left, like our YouTube crew.
Yeah.
We had a whole crew that was always down to film.
Yeah.
And they all left. So it's kind of just a couple of us now. So it got even harder, but
yeah,
I want to start posting more on YouTube because that's a platform that'll always be there, and it's been there for many, many years for a lot of creators. Who really knows what the TikTok is going to look like in a couple months or years, if it's going to be there or not. So anyway, I just want to keep growing month after month, and because I recently just I got an agent last year, so I am starting to make real money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
It took me about 4 years to finally get my first fat paycheck.
Yeah.
So the more you grow in social media, the more you're going to be worth, which is the more money you're going to make. So
yeah. I mean, that's a good point and good lesson for sure. Like, took him 4 years to start making any real money with this, right? So if you're starting, you're not making money or you're not getting the views, like, keep doing it. You got to find a reason for it. It's going to come. Like, some of the brand deals we've done together, even you've done, like, I know you recently got the Four Nations jersey from Fanatics. We had a Lulu collab that they sent you. Like, you've got some pretty cool stuff. The OVO stuff you got, like, that stuff comes and it takes time, but, like, it's worth it. Like, that stuff's awesome. And seeing that, like, the videos you can make and the stuff you're getting, like, it's legit. But I think that is a good.
But another thing to touch on that is, like, I knew from day one that I wasn't necessarily in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I had more fun with it, and even to this day, like, Canadians aren't able to make money off TikTok.
Yeah.
So that's never necessarily been a goal of mine, was focusing on the money. I more cared about, like, I had fun with it. It was a hobby, I'd say, and I found it, like, just fun for the creative side of it, to direct a video, edit it. It's like its own project, and it's like studying for a math exam and passing. It just feels good to post it and get that reward. Read the comments, even if they're negative, who cares?
Yeah.
Focus on the positive comments, and just more of a hobby. And getting that paycheck is more just like a reward for your hard work, and
And I think that's a good lesson even for hockey, right? And hockey parents especially. For the 99.9% of kids playing, you're not going to earn $1 from hockey, but that's not why you play. You don't play to make money. You play because you love hockey. You play because you want to improve at something, and hockey's your vehicle for that. That's kind of the same thing here, right? Like, you weren't doing it like, oh, I'm going to make millions of dollars filming. Like, I'm doing it because I love it. I'm doing it because it's fun. It's my vehicle for improvement. And that's a really good lesson even for hockey or working out or anything. Like, you're working to improve, you're working for something, but that's the goal in itself. It should be that constant evolution, and that's a really good example. Another thing I want to ask you, what's been the biggest challenge with this? Is it coaches, other teammates, like time? What do you think has been your biggest maybe challenge?
Lots of factors go into challenges, whether it's, well, I'd say the biggest thing is just your mental clarity or your mental desire to film.
Mhm.
Like, especially in terms of the hockey world, let's just say like we lose a game or we're on a weekend. Like, I don't really want to film, to be honest. Like, after a loss or something, you're just not really in that headspace to entertain other people.
Right.
That's a big factor. And then, yeah, I'd say like negativity kind of gets to me, but that's.
I mean, you've done a pretty good job. Like, if somebody chirps you, like, go make another TikTok, like, you just tell them, dude, you've seen my stuff. I have no idea who you are. You know who I am. Thank you. But, like, you've done a pretty good job at that, I think.
Yeah, no, it's not necessarily other people. It's more just like towards teammates. Like, I've had teammates tell me to put the camera down, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, I'm just trying to work.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it's more to stuff like that. But I don't know. It's also just like having the feeling to film, like especially on YouTube. That's pure entertainment, I guess you'd say, that you're trying to do.
Right.
So if you're not in that happy space, it's hard to like entertain other people. So that's a big factor. And then in terms of short form content, which is more staged and planned, that is like more just like timing.
Oh man, we've taken how many takes have we done on some of these videos? There's been times we do 30 takes.
Especially with ASU, like the club hockey, you don't have the ice whenever you want.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be teams on the ice before and after you. So to film on ice, which is where I get the most views, that's a big problem that we're having this year and last year.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of my videos, you need other people in them. So scheduling, if people aren't available, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Or if I'm not available, like time crunches. Also, just being busy with school, like whether you're studying and dealing with exams, social media, and just like time management, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like finding the time to do it. That's a big factor. So there's many factors being a college athlete compared to someone who's living in LA and that's like their whole job is to film because they don't do anything else.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, being a student athlete is definitely hard to do it, but there is ways. So
right. And kind of touching on like maybe teammates and maybe coaches even telling to put the camera down. Do you have any stories you can share about maybe coaches or teammates not liking the camera or maybe shutting it down a bit? And then on top of that, any advice you would give to kids who are thinking of starting to do this but scared of that exact thing?
So my first 3 years, I've never had a problem in terms of coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Like just using that one example of my first year of junior, like that's just a write-off in terms of social media.
Yeah.
That was the COVID season, so we're only really active for like 2 months.
Yeah.
So I'm not really going to use that as an example, but I'd say my first real problems was coming to ASU, actually. I know like on camera that might be like my most glorious year, which it was. Like that's where I grew the most, but that's also been my hardest year in terms of filming. Not necessarily this year because it is my second year here, so I've kind of grown into it. But when I first came to ASU, I'll use an example of our first game. It was against U of A. I was actually scratched that game, and it didn't really matter. I wanted to film a video anyway.
First college game.
I had that mindset of just I need to take advantage of being here. I'm going to film.
Yeah.
And yeah, I filmed like the behind the scenes. And then one of the other scratch players, he told me to just like sit down and stop filming, just let them focus on the game. And I didn't really take that too lightly. I told him to shut up, and I kept filming. I'll tell you after the pod who it was, but I kept filming, and I actually made a pretty damn good video out of it for not playing.
Yeah,
it was actually one of my most viewed videos that year. It was like U of A versus ASU rivalry.
Yeah, yeah.
And then same video, I filmed the post-game speeches after, and then I filmed one of the guys. He had like a heartfelt speech, and I guess no one knew I was filming. And I had a couple phone calls after. They told me to delete that video. I said no, but I'm willing to delete that scene.
Yeah.
So I deleted that whole locker room scene.
Yeah.
And then I guess another video or example of coaches. Last year I was trying to like figure out what I can and can't post.
Yeah.
So I filmed a Nelk Boys style club scene. I got a nasty montage at Casa. We had the wireless mic, so we're doing like some interviews with some chicks, and then I asked my coach before I posted it if this is okay, and then obviously he said no, he's not a fan of it. Yeah. So I deleted that whole bit, but it does suck when you go through all this editing. It takes hours and hours of editing, and to be told that you can't post it, it really sucks. But at the end of the day, we are athletes. We got to watch what we post. So
right.
Yeah, those are some examples of that.
Yeah, and I think at first, like, some guys were a little, like, concerned about what would be posted maybe or how it would look. And then as you kind of grew and, like, everyone saw, like, hey, he's not going to sue any of us. Like, this is just for fun. This is to kind of document our journey through college also. Like, I think everyone's kind of chilled out since that first year and maybe even that first story because that was all pretty close together, eh?
Yeah, so that, like, I understand on their behalf. Like, there's some freshman coming in, probably thinks he's a hothead, social media kid, and then there's kids who have never been a part of that. So I understand their side of it to not like me without knowing me. But the more they got to know me, the more they realized that it's not like all serious. I'm just having fun with it. If you guys don't want to be in it, I'm not going to film you. If you want something you say to be taken out, I'm always going to take it out. I'm always protecting my teammates if they don't want to be in it or whatever. So the more they got to know me, that's why this year is a lot easier, just because they actually got to know me off camera. And turns out that I actually am a pretty cool kid. I'm a nice kid. I don't know.
Yeah, you got our backs always, and you're not going to, like I said, you're not going to sue us. And I think everybody's been pretty cool about it, and we've got a lot of videos, and they've been good, right? We've had some that blown up, and
we got many views, many videos in the million views section.
And it's fun for me. Like every time you ask, I'm always down, and even us doing that has kind of made me want to do this, right? Like do the podcast. So if guys take it a certain way, they might not be able to grow their own platform, but if they look at it like, hey, maybe this is something I want to do, it could be good like motivation. But with that, do you have a favorite video you've ever filmed or a least favorite video? I guess and a least favorite video. Let's go least favorite
platform we're talking.
Let's do TikTok. TikTok or like an Instagram short.
Yeah,
one of those skits.
Reels.
Yeah.
It's a good question. One of my favorites, I would say that Kardashian audio we did.
Yeah.
Like the one where you're taking off my skate.
Yeah.
That one did really well. And we filmed that in like different locations around the rink. So it was like it was a nice creativity challenge for us that turned out to be really well. Mm-hmm. And that's like the best things when you go through all this effort and then it ends up doing well. It just nothing feels better.
Yeah.
So then I don't know about least favorite video. Least favorite videos would obviously be when I first started back in 2020 when I was trying to like follow those like Josh Richards trends with like those the thirst traps.
Yeah.
Those are all deleted, but yeah, a couple of my friends still have those screen recorded somewhere. Just like those thirst trap videos.
Yeah.
But
you look back and cringe a little.
Yeah, for sure. But when that's the trend and you're trying to make it, then you got to be willing to take the punches.
Yeah. I mean, you put yourself out there and you do a good job of it. And it's never too cringe, but I guess I've never seen those first ones.
Yeah. My modern day videos they're all good, I would say.
Yeah. All right, bro. I think that's about it. I think this is a good one. Anybody listening, any kids wanting to start this, definitely just start. Like, even when I started this, it's not going to pop off right away, but just post as much as you can, document your life, document your hockey. Maybe it's a way to watch some film. Like I film myself, you film yourself.
Yeah.
You can see some things you can improve on the ice, off the ice. Like it's a good thing, and it's something you can do beyond just playing hockey to stay
Absolutely.
in the game.
At the end of the day, it's just marketing yourself, seeing yourself on video, like talking, even whether you're in social media or just business or communication, seeing yourself talk, you can analyze it, you can become a better speaker, whether you're doing presentations, no matter what you do. I would say there's no downside to this.
Yeah.
Unless you're posting stupid stuff that
can get you in trouble.
That will, get you in trouble. So if you are posting stupid stuff, then don't plan on working for someone else. You better have an entrepreneurship mind and create your own company, be your own boss, just like the Nelk boys did.
Yeah, but also for hockey players, certain things you post, like you got to be part of a team. So that might not work while you're playing, but afterwards, if there's something you want to stay in, the Nelk guys did hockey stuff, right? They're hockey players. So there is a lot of advice here, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. And Fridge, what I call him, I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Can't wait to see how this turns out and read the comments. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, and I'm sure I'll be a reoccurring guest. I'm always here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're good buddies, so we'll get you back on. Maybe we'll get Nick on with you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, dude.
Peace. That was fun.